NFL Week 8 best bets. In this video, we go through every single game on Sunday and Monday, give you your favorite pick, side, total, you name it. Every game is timestamped down below. We end the video with our best bet of the week, which those have been printing so far this season. As always, I can't do it myself. I am joined by Logan. Logan, it is good to see you. We just got to hop into a recap of Week 7. It was back-to-back 500 weeks for me. I went 8-8, but shout out you, man. 9-5 week. We're both 56, 57% on the season. Pretty dang good. And then best bet of the week, I got to give you your props. You cashed yours as well. Great work. Mine lost. Broncos could not get the cover, but yours was a pretty easy over in the Vikings-Eagles game. We're both 5-2 on best bets. We're neck and neck. 5-2, pretty good. 71% on our best bet of the week again. And we'll talk about that at the end of the video. Couple shameless promos, though. Of course, if you want all of our official picks, the ones that have yielded 16 point something units on the season, like you see my recap down below on the screen, you certainly can join. We've had a lot of profitable weeks so far this season. Tap in. Make sure you join the Dub Club. It's only $10 for your first month. Link is down below. Look, we don't necessarily play every single pick that we have in these videos, but you get all the props, the parlays, exclusive picks, and parlays sent to your phone, email, Discord, Dub Club app, whatever you name it, it's getting to you. Make sure you join. $10 for your first month. The link is down below. All right, Logan, sorry for the shameless promo. Let's dive into games, and we'll start with your red-hot Panthers. Winners of 3 straight. The Meow Mix podcast said, we're done with this team. And the Panthers said, bet. We're going to start winning now. And you see them now 4-3. But they have a tough task here. It looks like Bryce Young might not be going this weekend. We'll let you decide if that's a good or bad thing. But they are 7-point dogs hosting the Buffalo Bills coming off their bye week. What's the move here? Are we riding with the Panthers at home? What are you doing?
Little known fact, I was one of the people that helped cancel the Meow Mix podcast. So you guys are welcome. Just kidding. But with all that being said, Austin, this is a pretty hot Carolina Panthers team. Now am I going to fall for the bait? Yeah, I am. They're playing such good football right now, and I know Buffalo is coming off the bye. Obviously, they have an extra week to prepare. But if they've been studying some Bryce Young film, I have a really good feeling that it's going to be Andy Dalton. I'm pretty certain it actually is Andy Dalton. So again, this Panthers offense plays a little bit different with Dalton than it does with Bryce Young, because Bryce Young, he's deficient in height. We know that. He's a really small quarterback, and the Bills would be able to push him around in the pocket. Andy Dalton can see over those linemen. He can deliver the ball very accurately, even this late in his career. This Panthers defense has just been playing amazing as well. They went on the road, and yes, they faced a bad Jets team, but they kept that offense, because Carolina's offense was not sharp in that one. Bryce Young goes down. Andy Dalton's just kind of thrown into action. Panthers defense held it down for him. The Jets barely ever crossed midfield, I swear. And I think they're going to be able to give Josh Allen a little bit of challenging. J.C. Horn's playing amazing football right now, so give me Carolina plus the points in this one. I just think they can hang around, keep this within a one-score game of Buffalo.
Yeah, I don't hate your pick. I'm going to be on Buffalo's team total over, though, at 26.5. I think the Panthers could cover, but I think that defense, they had a bye week. The Jets are so bad. And I just don't know a motivated Josh Allen coming into town. I just don't think they've seen a QB really like Josh Allen this season. I mean, you look at their schedule, the Jets are disgusting. Don't even count that. I mean, the week before against the Cowboys, they did go up 27 points there. That would cash this. They gave up 24 to Tua and the Dolphins. You saw Drake May, who's kind of like Josh Allen. They dropped the 42 piece. And while the Panthers are better at home, I think that you're at least the Bills put up points here. And I don't know if they cover. Mac, you can cover. I think Andy Dalton's probably a better QB at moving the football down the field, converting third downs. But I think the Bills put up points here. So I'll take their team total over 26.5 to kick things off. Next game, we have a rematch of what we just saw a few weeks ago on Thursday Night Football, where Jackson Dart and the Giants went and stayed at home and smacked around the Eagles. And now you see them facing each other again. The books are obviously still not buying into Jackson Dart and the hype, as they're now 7-point dogs here on the road in Philly, over under 43.5. Logan, Jackson Dart's looked awesome. Are you buying in? You taking the points? You fading them? What are we doing here?
My best bet of the week was with this Eagles team. I love the over in that game, and I'm once again going to be on the over. Now, I just think if we look at how that Thursday game played out, the Giants had no problem putting up points. You're going to have to remind me of the final score. I think it was like 34-17.
34-17, I want to say. I think that was the final.
Yeah. So there was no, the shortage of points already in that previous matchup. And I like what this Giants offense is doing. You go into Mile High and you put up, you go toe for toe with a very, very good Broncos defense. I think that can sharpen you up for another matchup with Philadelphia. And I said the Philadelphia secondary is suspect. I mean, they were very lucky to kind of win that game. Just kind of given how Carson Wentz was playing, he was kind of reckless with the ball. That's just not going to work. You're not going to win football games that way. I love the over personally. I just think both these defenses give up those big chunk yardages. There's no like chew clock 8-minute drives for either of these teams. If they're going to go 3 and out, they're going to go 3 and out. It's going to be pretty quickly. This Eagles offense, maybe they found something with Devontae Smith, AJ Brown. I know a lot of the pressure on the offensive coordinator. I know what that's going to lead. He's going to want to get more cute. He's going to want to keep feeding those receivers, and that's going to lead to an over in this one. So give me the over.
You know what? I'll squad rad with you. I can't bet on the side in this game because obviously my best bet of the week last week was fading Jackson Dart. I looked like an idiot. The fact the Broncos even won was just an absolute choke job. If I fade the Giants again and they make me look like an idiot, I'm going to be dumb. If I back them, they're not covering if I back them. Let's be honest. I'm a lose in that spread. Whatever I pick, it's a loss. So I do agree with you. I think there's points here. Jackson Dart, we saw him slinging it around, and sometimes I have a feeling he throws a pick in this game if I were to guess, because I think he's being a little reckless. But a pick doesn't hurt it here if it's like midfield or maybe in his own territory. We can score some points here. You're right. They're going to be slinging it around, and we know the Eagles' offense. Saquon Barkley still has not gotten it going at all. He's averaging like the second fewest rush yards by a guy with per attempt by a guy with like 40 attempts or more. I mean, him and Charbonnet, who have both been not great. So I think that they're going to put up points. I think they're going to throw in it. And like you said, 34-17 the first matchup. I certainly think there's points in this game. Jackson Dart's looking like the truth. Giants fans are probably absolutely electric. They're probably hyped, even though their team choked away that game. But choking away a game's not the worst thing, guys. You're not going to make the playoffs or go far. The team's not that good, especially without neighbors. So a loss like that maybe builds a little bit of character on the team. We're both on the over. That should go well. Our next game, let's get this one out of the way. My New York Jets on the road taking on Joe Flacco and the Bengals, who are coming off a big Thursday night victory against the Steelers. Jets are 6.5-point dogs, over under at 44.5. Again, State of Jets Nation are in shambles. If you've seen the Instagram reel of that kid that was interviewed after the game, he said he hates the team. I don't even know how old that kid was. He felt like he was like 12, 14 years old. And he's just like, I hate this team. And hey, man, welcome to misery. It's just painful, but it looks as a part that Justin Fields is getting benched for Tyrod Taylor here. And maybe that puts a little bit of juice in this offense, but I'm actually just going to be on the under in this game. I'm not betting the Jets. I can't lose money betting on them. But I don't actually hate what I've seen from their defense as of late. Their defense, even though they might be down Sauce Gardner here, I get it. But this Bengals offense is it feels like on Thursday Night Football, or they were just throwing it every down. And that might work against the Steelers team who didn't look prepared at all. But I think Aaron Glenn will get the boys fired up. It's not like they played bad defense on Sunday against your Panthers. Like, they showed up and played pretty well. I think they can do something similar against Joe Flacco. And at the end of the day, this Jets offense sucks. They can't put up points. They if they score points, it is because it's like a 12-minute drive. And that you love to see that if you're on the under. So I'll be on the under. I think it's a 44.5. Yeah, count me in. I'm there. Logo, what do you like?
Damn it. I hate that I was also trending the under in this one, but that's exactly where I'm at. It's exactly game flow what you described. When the Jets do play, they are not an explosive offense at all. They are dink and dunk to like Mason Taylor, maybe out of the backfield and one of the running backs. It's not explosive like 30, 40 yards down the field. That's just not how that offense is run. But yes, defensively, I agree with you. I think the Jets defense is a little bit better than people realize. Again, they're still not really, they're not efficient in terms of like getting teams off the field on third down. Like Carolina converted some really ridiculous third downs in that one. So they're going to have to be better over the course of the season in that regard. But Cincinnati was, they definitely took advantage of some matchups in that Steelers game, and I think the Jets can game plan a little bit better for that if they're just able to, kind of put some bodies. I like their defensive backs better than I like Pittsburgh's. So that being said, I just think the bulk of the points would have to really be scored by Cincinnati for this one to go over, and I think the Jets can do enough to stop it. So I like the under with you.
Yeah, I just can't imagine the Bengals running up the score on the Jets if that's what it comes down to.
No.
So I also know Bengals will be in basically every single money line parlay. So if they can, I mean, a teaser of them at 6.5, that looks like such a great teaser. Like, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Next game, Logan, we keep things moving as we head to the Browns taking on the Patriots. Now, I've been trying to fade the Patriots as of late, and it just doesn't work out. Drake May just ruins me. And so I'm out. I'm not fading the Patriots anymore, but they are 7-point favorites here. Over under at 40.5. Logan, how are you feeling about this game? Drake May's looking like the truth so far. You rolling with them? What are you feeling?
Yeah, I definitely can't fade Drake May in this Patriots team. They're playing really well right now. They have it all figured out, and it's going through Drake May, and then a little bit of they're mixing in Ramondre Stevenson, which I do like. You can't be one dimensional in the NFL. That doesn't work. Now they're going to face a pretty tough test versus Cleveland, but I still like the Patriots. I'll lay the points with them. I know it's a square angle, but if we've seen how the NFL's played out so far, it's like if you're sharp, you just kind of look like an idiot. Like I was on, like we were both on like teams like the Saints last week. Just was the wrong side. I don't want to be caught on Browns on the wrong side of this one, even if it is a sharp angle, even if the Browns only lose by like 3 or 4 points in this one. I still think the Patriots are significantly better. And you have a rookie quarterback in Dylan Gabriel going on the road in Foxborough against an offense that I think is significantly better than him. I just think they're going to be trailing a lot of this game, playing, keep up or trying to keep up. And that doesn't work with just kind of having Quinshon Judkins and not a whole lot outside of that. So I like the Patriots. I'll lay the points, Austin. I know it's square, but I can't go anywhere else in that one.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you here. I'm trying to get to the under. It just feels like an under that looks great on paper and then just loses on some garbage. I'll still go with it because I don't want to take the Patriots with the points. I'll take the under. I maybe a better play is taking the Browns team total under, but that's at 16.5. And I just know if I take that, they're going to find a way to 17. But like, how do the Browns score points? They rely on turnovers, which Tua have gifted them so many turnovers, and running the football. Like, this offense is very limited to that. And running the football against Patriots really tough. Are arguably giving up the worst, lowest rush yards per attempt. And so they're going to put the arm in the Dylan Gabriel's hands. And on the road in Foxborough for a Patriots crowd that is now going to be pretty amped up given how their team has started the season, I find it being tough to be able to score there. And they're still going to run the ball. They're not going to abandon the run because they physically can't. I just don't think they have enough guys making plays. And I really am a big fan of Harold Fant, and he's great, but how far can a tight end take you like that? Jerry Jeudy really hasn't found anything with Gabriel. So I see this being as a tough game. And as on the same side, Patriots, I think they put a point, but like, this is still a really good Browns defense that will stop the run. So you're not going to get much from Ramondre and company. And then you're going to rely on Diggs and Kaboody and Hollins to make a bunch of plays. I think eventually that comes down and they aren't able to make all the plays. So I'll take the under. Not my favorite play, but I'll go the under there. Our next game, Logan, we head to Atlanta, where we have the Falcons taking on the Dolphins. Now, both these two teams are coming off losses. The Falcons lost on Sunday Night Football to the 49ers, and the Dolphins got absolutely smoked. They just really didn't look great against Cleveland. So you're seeing the spread right around 6.5 or 7. The over-under at 44.5. Logan, I'll lead things off. I don't know if you pick on the side or total. I'm going to be on the over, actually. There's points in this game. Based on what we saw from Tua in that offense, I mean, they're slinging it around. Those drives end quick. It's like, hey, we're scoring quickly or we're turning the ball over. And I don't know what Bijan Robinson's rush yard prop is for this game, but set it up to the moon. It should be like 100 based on how bad this Dolphins rush defense is. They are just abysmal. They can't stop anyone. And so I think you're just going to see Bijan have an absolutely big day. They're not going to be able to stop the run, and you're going to see this offense be able to score some points. I'm looking at Bijan. PrizePicks has it at 84.5. I'd be shocked if that is as low as 84.5 by the time this game rolls around. It's probably in the 90s. So give me the over. Think Falcons can put up points. Penix sucks on the road. When he's at home, he's a dog. And I don't even know if Penix is starting for this game. He might be out. Might be Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins can have a little bit of extra juice to come in here, gotten benched for Penix. He'll be ready to go. He's a veteran. I like the over. Logan, what do you like?
Yeah, I can't really get to Atlanta in this one. I see your angle on the over. I don't like the uncertainties at quarterback for the Falcons. So I'm just going to go ahead and take the Falcons on the first half spread. And I'm getting I see 4.5 on FanDuel. Maybe it's better somewhere else. But I just know out of the gate early, this Dolphins team they just lay eggs. I mean, they get down. The problem with the Dolphins is they could backdoor it, because I could see the Falcons letting up a little bit on a little bit in the gas in the fourth quarter. But Bijan Robinson is very, very tough to start or to stop early on in these games. We saw him, I'm just thinking of the Falcons at home against the Bills. They jumped out to a nice little lead in that Bills game. In the second half, they lost a little bit of juice in that one. So I'm just going to lay them on the first half spread. Miami's defense is just Hall of Fame bad in terms of if you can't stop the run, that doesn't bode well for you, especially when Atlanta can unleash Drake London and Darnell Mooney on you. So give me the Falcons first half spread.
So 3.5 minus 120 on DraftKings. So
I'll lay
add
that.
that to the
Sure.
card. I like it. I like that pick. Honestly, almost added to my card as well. But I don't need to double dip in the Falcons. I don't need to do it, but I do like it. Double dipping worked for me last week. Maybe I'll do it later on in the video. Our next game, we head to the Ravens taking on the Bears. Now, from what we record, this is Tuesday evening. We do. I know Lamar Jackson didn't practice. I think on Monday. Based on the spread at 6.5, you think he's back, and I would anticipate Lamar Jackson being back. Obviously, if he's not, by the time you're watching this video, our analysis might be a whole off. If it's Cooper Rush or Huntley under center, that might change how we feel. But as it currently states, the Ravens are 6.5 point favorites. The over under at 50.5. Logan, what's the move here?
So I'm actually going to be on a player prop. Roma Dunze 30 punt. No, but really,
Rome, or
yeah,
you want Rome 30 plus, but is under in yards? A little
yeah,
SGP, if you say.
yeah. I like the mix 30, and that's it. But yeah, you mentioned the injury concerns in this one is making it kind of tough just looking at it. From a game perspective. I'm going to take the Bears plus the points. I think that's a fine angle to take because even if Lamar does play, I still think they can play. I think they can play up tempo enough to kind of hang around with the a Ravens defense that has not gelled. They've just been a terrible unit, injuries, etc. Whatever. They're still not full strength, and until they look like the Ravens defense that people expect, I still think Caleb Williams and this Bears offense can go up and down the field, and I think they can move the ball. I think they can be scrappy in this one, definitely give them a chance to win the game. So I think Bears plus the points is the angle. Until I see Lamar and this Ravens team become a juggernaut, I just think you're laying a number just based off of name value alone. That's just not a smart way to bet, in my opinion. So I'll lay the point, or I'll take the points with the Bears.
Yeah, I'll be on Bears team total over. It's 20.5 right now. I think they put up 21 points. I don't care how many points they give up, but I think Ben Johnson is a good enough coach on the road to get this team going. And I've liked what they've seen out of their running backs. Manungai is now going. Swift's playing pretty well. Roma Dunze, as we've talked about, has not been good the last few weeks, but they haven't really needed him. And I think this is a game they'll probably need him a little bit, giving up a lot of points to the Ravens. So I think Rome finally gets back on track. So if you have him in fantasy, don't worry. He'll get back on track. I do think Derrick Henry, for what it's worth, that's a big game on the other side. I think the Bears at least put up points. I don't think they're kicking field goals here. If they get down and maybe they're trailing by 2+ scores, Ben Johnson's not kicking field goals. He'll be going for it. I like them at 20.5 points. I think they put up that. They could cover, but I don't think they're covering if they don't put up 21 points. Plain and simple. So I think the Bears team total is a little bit better, but I don't mind your angle on the Bears as well. I think both of them probably cash. All right. Next game. This is an interesting one, Logan.
Yeah.
This 49ers taking on the Texans. Now, on one hand, you have a 49ers team that's a mass unit. They're still trying to get guys back. Brock Purdy looks like he won't play here. And then they're taking on a Texans team that got, destroyed on Monday Night Football against the Seahawks. Didn't really look good. That game wasn't competitive. That final score was closer than the game actually was. But the Texans are favored here. This feels like you could get sharp and take the Texans. You could fade them over under 41.5. Logan, what are we doing here?
Yeah, no matter what in this game, I'm on the under. There's just no. It's pretty glaring to me that in a pick'em like this, I don't see an edge on the side. Maybe you do, but I don't see an edge on the side personally. And everyone kind of expected that last Texans Seahawks game to be a lower scoring kind of slugfest, grind it out. It didn't translate to that. Now, what I did like was that the Niners defense was playing better as a unit, even without Fred Warner. I was on that Sunday Night Football under. I liked what I saw from them, so I'm once again going to kind of take an under there. What the Niners offense is asking out of Christian McCaffrey is unrealistic. It just really is. It's like, go do everything. Catch passes for us, run the ball for us. Oh, and yeah, by the way, pass block a little bit for us. I saw all sorts of like stats and metrics of how much they're using Christian McCaffrey. Look, I mean, it worked against Atlanta, but it will only take you so far. And I think this Texans defense is a little bit better, especially at home in this angle. So I think the Niners are going to struggle really in the red zone, not get a lot of touchdowns themselves. And I think the Niners defense can limit really what Houston wants to do. So the under is definitely the play for me in that one.
Yeah, I'll try to get sharp. I'll be on the Texans. I'll be on them on the money line. D'Amico Ryans, a little bit of a revenge game here, if you will, against the 49ers, where he obviously spent a lot of his time becoming a head coach, being, a defensive coordinator and stuff like that. His team's going to be juiced up for this game. And we've seen this 49ers team. We've seen them look good and then bad, good, bad. And we saw them kind of do that recently. We saw them look good and beat like a Cardinals team in week 3. Then they lost the next week against against the Jags. Then they beat the Rams on a short week, lost to the Bucks. Then they beat the Falcons, go back on the road here. I think they struggle. To put up points. Like you're under. No one's betting on the Texans here, unless you're trying to get sharp, maybe with me. And maybe it's a bozo play. It could be. But I do think that they can show up. Their defense is really good. Then keep them in that. We'll see if Nico Collins plays. He got a concussion on Monday Night Football, so you'd lean towards him not playing. And honestly, if he doesn't play, I like it more. Give me the Texans. Give me them on the money line. I think they win that game outright. Our next game, I believe we head to the 4:00 window as the aforementioned Saints are on the road taking, or the Bucks are on the road taking on the Saints. Right now, you're looking at a spread at 5.5, over under 46.5. Logan, I have a stat for you, and I don't know. Then you can give your pick. Since 2023, the Buccaneers 12-4 against the spread after a loss, second best record in the NFL. Logan, what do you like though?
Yeah, I'm laying the points with the Bucks. I mean, you don't see road favorites of that number all that often, especially in divisional games in the NFL. I think that they are pricing a really big bounce back week for this Bucks team, and wouldn't that be on brand after what we just had to witness on Monday Night Football for Baker and this offense to look back what they should look. Now I know they're down Mike Evans, we know that. Egbuka, he looked like he was kind of playing through that injury. What his status is, in this game, maybe he's better, maybe he's not. I don't really care. What I know about this Bucks team, though, is they are a very, very good unit on offense. They just didn't look sharp on Monday Night Football. Those games happen. I think they're going to be much better in this spot. And the Bucks defense, I think obviously, Detroit had a good game plan for them. They said, we're going to take anything underneath. You're not going to beat us over the top. And I don't really see New Orleans being able to game plan anything that's going to match up well against this Bucks defense. You saw Spencer Rattler really struggle under pressure. Anytime the Bears brought an extra guy, his eyes immediately dropped, and he was just either sacked or he had to throw it in the ground. It was really bad football. Reminded me once again of kind of why they're unsure of their quarterback position, because he kind of regressed last week. I don't see it getting much easier for him against a Bucks front that is very good. Their DBs are playing a little bit better, even though they're banged up. So give me the Bucks. I like your stat after a loss. I think they bounce back in a big way.
Yeah, I can't give that stat and not also back the Bucks. 12-4 against the spread since 2023 after a loss. It does give me a little bit of PTSD thinking about my Broncos pick, laying a big number. But the Broncos were at home. This is on the road. You just don't see those big numbers on the road. I'll take a shot here on the Bucks. I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't cover, but I do think they are the better team by far. And you're right, Rattler he was rattled. he looked real bad. And maybe coming back home here, maybe they're able to put up points. I think there's points in this game, so I do lean in over here. But the Bucks defense played well against a very good Lions offense, and I just think Baker and company another week. No Mike Evans obviously is going to hurt them, but maybe Bucky Irving's back this week. We'll see about him. He would obviously be a big addition, and Ibuka should only be healthier after we saw a shell of him kind of on Monday night. I like the Bucks here. And this is the first game they finally spank them. You saw last year the two games the Bucks won by 8, and they won one of those games by 24 points. So let's hope they can go take care of business, win by a touchdown. I like the Bucks as well. We stay in the 4:00 window to the biggest spread of the week, as the Titans are 14.5 point dogs. We're in week 8 and we're already at 14.5 points. What the hell are we doing? But that is where we are. The Colts, and we've been riding with Indiana Jones and company. 14.5, Logan. You getting there? Are you rolling with the wagon that is Indiana Jones and the Colts?
I am. There's no reason to jump off. I mean, I took them once again last week. People said that looks too easy on paper, right? They were in like a pick 'em with a slumping Chargers team, and where'd they go? They took the belt and they put it, where in LA. They finally got a little bit of revenge. I love that spot for them. Now this one, maybe the Titans catch them early, maybe sleepwalking a little bit, but down the stretch, this Colts team really wears on you. What do I mean by that? Jonathan Taylor. He's getting like at least 5 yards a carry, it feels like. I don't know his official rushing stats, but it just feels like they are always in second and short. And when you're always in second and short, it sets up those deep shot plays where the defense is just kind of guessing. They really had that Chargers defense off balance in that whole game. Now they're facing a significantly worse Titans defense. Yeah, I mean, sign me up for that. I think they get whatever they want in this one. Colts defense, they've shown some liabilities in the secondary, but that's okay because they're facing a Titans offense that has no explosiveness whatsoever. Cam Ward just doesn't really look on the same page with his wide receivers, and that's okay. I don't think they figure it out on the road in Indy. So I'll lay the massive number. It's big, but I think it's big for a reason in this one.
Yeah, I mean, we both look like idiots taking the Raiders plus the points, and I fear that could be the same thing as the Titans here, man. They've already faced each other once this season. It was a 21-point Colts win, and maybe you're being dumb by betting on the Colts again, but how do you get there with the Titans? They just don't look like they know what the hell they're doing. They look like an FBS team. And while, yeah, you could say, oh, well, they're going to sleepwalk them, but I mean, they could sleepwalk them and still beat them by 3+ touchdowns. So I'll take the Colts here. They're just looking too good. They look like the best offense in the NFL. They're putting up points. And if they're able to put up, the 27, 30+ points they're putting consistently, do I have any faith in the Titans putting up the same points after they've already seen Cam Ward and company? No, I don't. So I'll be on the Colts with you, Logan. I like the over too, but I can't count on the Titans. They stink. And I'm not losing money on a bad program. They're 14.5-point dogs for a reason. Logan, let's move on to where the people are saying your best bet of the week is 5-2. You're looking to bounce back. You'll talk about this game in just a few minutes, but it is the Cowboys taking on the Broncos. Now, this game has a total at 50.5. Broncos are 3.5-point favorites. I'll be honest. Logan will give his pick at the end of the video, so stay tuned for his best bet of the week. I am on the under in this game. I could try to get sharp with the Cowboys or whatnot, but I like the under. Couple reasons why. First one, last week we saw that Broncos game versus the Giants, 6 million points. They scored 33 in the fourth quarter. Congrats to them. Soared over. You went back to the Cowboys-Commanders game, soared over. But now you have to take Dak Prescott out of the dome, goes on the road to a mile high, and I think this Broncos defense matches up pretty well against Dak Prescott and company. Jackson Dart, credit to him, he made a ton of plays, but it's not like the plays where he was just sitting in the pocket, boom, easy money. It was like he was rolling out, throwing off his back foot. And that is not really what Dak Prescott wants to do. He doesn't like to take a lot of risks. And I think if you're going to score on the Broncos, you got to take some risks. I don't think you will. I think they match up pretty well against the Cowboys offense. So their Broncos defense, that is George Pickens, likely shadowed by Pat Surtain. Wouldn't be shocked if we double CeeDee Lamb. And I think they make someone else beat him. Now, Javonte Williams is going to come in here with a little bit of added aggression, and maybe that means they hand the ball off a little bit more. I think he can run on the Broncos, but if they're running, that doesn't hurt a best under at 50.5. I think people are going to expect a ton of points, and based on last week, the two games, expecting points. Only that's the case here. I think it's a lower scoring game, 23-20 type game. Love the under. Logan will talk about it at the end of the video. We'll see what he's got cooked up for you all. And speaking of best bets, let's get to Sunday Night Football, where my best bet will be is the Packers are taking on the Steelers. Shame on the NFL for not making this a game in Lambeau. Shame on the NFL. You would have known Aaron Rodgers was going to Steelers, and man, that would be electric. But there's still going to be some juice here. Rodgers taking on his former ball club. There's going to be some juice. But, Logan, right now, the Packers are 3.5-point favorites. The over-under at 45.5. Word on the street, you're going back to the system play, which got wrecked in week 7. But you can talk about the system, and I'll talk about my favorite bet in the few minutes. What do you like here?
Yeah, I mean, my system kind of came to a crashing halt last week. It's not like it's not a good play because it's cashed more times than it's not. But I'm taking the Pittsburgh Steelers first half team total under, and I'm getting a 9.5, and I'm getting good value on it. So it's one of those bets that it's like I'm not laying a whole lot of juice, and I can count on this Packers defense to really show up. Now, last week, what really wrecked me in that first half was a little bit of a BS penalty. Micah Parsons hip drop tackle extended the drive for the Cardinals, and I just saw it. I was like, oh boy, now they're going to go get points out of this. And sure enough, right at the end of the half with I think 10 seconds left or something crazy like that, they got a Trey McBride touchdown. And I was like, man, if they just would have held them to a field goal, it would have cashed on the hook because this red zone defense for the Packers, very, very good. It's very hard for the Steelers to just, in the first half be able to get out, to block all the guys necessary they need to give Aaron Rodgers a lot of time to get those deep shots down the field like he had on Thursday Night Football. He's not going to have the same type of looks that he had with a Bengals defense that he was just rubbing his hands. He's like, yep, anything I want, I'm getting tonight. No pass rush whatsoever. Exact opposite is what he's going to face this week. So I love the Packers defense to really show up in the first half. And if they score a bunch in the second half, I don't really care because this bet's cashing in the first.
I love it, Logan. I'll talk about that game in just a few moments as we wrap up the week before our best bets of the week by talking about the Monday Night Football game. Commanders taking on the Chiefs. Now, right now, you're seeing the Chiefs as 10.5 point favorites over under 47.5. I think it is pretty well known that Marcus Mariota probably suiting up for the Commanders as Jaden Daniels once again suffered an injury on Sunday and didn't finish that game. So I think it's pretty assumed that he will not be out there. But even with that news, Logan, I'll be back on the Commanders here. I'm taking them plus the 10.5. I know we looked like idiots back in the Raiders last week, but I still think this Commanders team has a little bit of heart. And I know they got spanked by division rival. Everyone's going to be on the Chiefs here. They're the final leg of everyone's money line parlay. Everyone going into Monday, they need the Chiefs to win, and maybe they do. But I think the Commanders are still a good and well coached team with Dan Quinn, and I'm just hoping to get some pass catchers back because man, they just didn't have anything to throw to. But Terry felt like he was pretty close to returning. Debo Samuel's probably ready to go here. They can run the football as well with Bill Krosky Merritt. They just got down early in that game, and they're going to have to. Their defense is going to have to show up, and there are some question marks there. But I think the Commanders keep it close. I know last week I said the stat somewhere in there about Patrick Mahomes and whatnot. Not cover double-digit spreads. Look like an idiot. He's not covering back-to-back double-digit spreads. Give me the commies plus the points. Logan, what do you like here?
Yeah, I see your sharp angle. My sharp angle in this one is going to be taking something that doesn't make sense. I'm just going to be on the Chiefs team total under. And I'm seeing on FanDuel I can get it at 29.5. You're going to have to let me know if it exists a little in better books. But I don't think if Chiefs 10.5 cashes, I don't think it's going to be easy. I don't think everyone is projecting that they just go in there, or that the terrible Commanders defense goes in there and just gets obliterated, just gets run out of the building. That's not going to happen. What we saw with the Chiefs last week is they were able to kind of let their foot off the gas and just kind of coast to a nice little easy victory. I think the Commanders are going to have some sustained drives, which is something the Raiders were not able to do at all. And when you have some sustained drives, it has the potential to really hold Kansas City to a few field goals and just not give them time to go up and down the field like they were against the Raiders. That Raiders game was an anomaly. It was just an anomaly in every sense of the word. The fact that you were able to bench your starters, I think like after the third quarter, I mean, that just doesn't happen a lot in the NFL. It was just an uncompetitive mismatch. Commanders defense, while yes, they got absolutely cooked in Dallas, and there's no reason for me to believe that they'll be this bad in Arrowhead. And again, Monday Night Football, weirder things have happened. A little extra day to prepare for Patrick Mahomes and that offense. I like Kansas City's team total under, and I just think that if Kansas City cashes, it's not going to be because they scored 30 plus.
Yeah, I don't hate it. While you're talking, I received a text in the group chat with some friends that don't watch any football, and they asked if the ladder hit. So that was fun. That was nice. Thanks for that. A little nugget out there for the people. The Commanders have scored at least 18 points in 27 consecutive games. The NFL record is 28. So they're trying to tie that record. We'll see if they can. And wouldn't you know, their team total this week is 17.5.
Interesting.
That's it. This is hitting 27 straight games. And that I might need to add the under to my card. Jeez.
Sure.
We'll see how that game goes. Still like the commies. Please come through. They might not score a lot of points, like your team total under. But Logan, you know what time it is. Best bet of the week time. Logan and I give out our best bets of the week. We're 5-2 each. 10-4 as a program. That's 71%. Logan, you cashed last week. I did not. So the floor is yours. We know what game you're in. We need to know the pick. What are we doing?
Yeah, so I just mentioned a team total that I was rolling with on Sunday Night Football. I'm keeping the same theme for my best bet this week, but it's going to be the Cowboys team total under on the road in Denver. Austin mentioned he likes the full game under. I just want to isolate it to the Dallas Cowboys. Everything that they had last week, matchup-wise versus the Commanders, they're going to have so much, different looks with this Denver defense. Number one, Denver secondary, very good. Now, did they have some coverage busts in that Giants game? Yes, they did, but they were weird coverage busts. Talking like miscommunication between the safety and DB, and what do you know? There's a Bellinger wide open, like 30 plus yard touchdown. It felt like just weird stuff like that is not going to happen. They're going to get right. They're going to be a little bit better at limiting those long down the field shots. Dak Prescott, again, Pat Surtain's going to be on one of the two very talented receivers, maybe Pickens, and maybe Lamb gets a little bit of yards out of the slot. But again, I don't think they're going to be able to run Javonte Williams as much. That Denver front will be able to stop him. And then kind of game flow wise, Denver, was playing trail that whole game against the Giants. They didn't score until the fourth quarter, and that's kind of when their offense started getting going. What they're going to do against Dallas is they're going to be able to run the ball. They're going to be able to dictate, game flow. They're going to be able to chew the clock a little bit, sustain drives, keep Dallas off the field, because I don't think, coming off a 60-plus point game, against the Giants last week, I don't think they want to get in the shootout with Dallas. That's just not smart, because Dallas, that's how you almost let New York go into your home stadium and win. I think this Denver defense is going to be much sharper this week. So I think what as far as angles go, I like the Dallas team total under as my favorite angle in this one. I don't think they're going to put up a lot of touchdowns in the red zone. I think at bare minimum, it's going to be some long Brendan Aubrey field goals, and I'm okay with that this week. So give me that as my best bet. Hopefully I can stay hot on that one. But Austin, what are you rolling with?
Yeah, Logan, I need to give the people a winner. Last week, Broncos just never stood a chance to cash. This week, we're bouncing back, and I do have a total. You guys know I like to alternate between sides, spreads, and totals. This week, I'm going to Sunday Night Football, as you guys know, and I'm on the under in the Packers and Steelers game. Now, I do have a stat for you if you're interested in backing the Steelers getting sharp. Since 2007, Mike Tomlin's 21-7-3 against the spread as a home underdog, the best record in the NFL during that time span. And I do think if they are to cover, it's got to be a low-scoring game. The Packers defense is legit. They're really, really good. And like Logan's talked on the first half team total under, I mean, those are printing. Even if a team scores, they barely get it there. And I know Aaron Rodgers is going to be pumped up to get it done. But again, this offense has no playmakers. They rely on Aaron Rodgers last week making a ton of plays, being able to extend the plays and run away from Bengals, and without even Trey Hendrickson. They didn't even have their best pass rusher, who's still under pressure, getting out of it and chucking it deep to Pat Fryermuth. You want to know who he's not going to be able to run away from? Guys like Micah Parsons. You're going to be right on him. So, and then if you're telling me he's throwing it, it's like DK Metcalf's really the only wide receiver of note. And then it's 3 tight ends and running backs and stuff. It just is a bad offense. Now, I think they can cover, but I think the cover, it's got to be a low scoring game. Now, this really comes down to the Steelers defense. They look like trash on Thursday Night Football, and they were just getting burnt. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins were just destroying them. It's like they didn't even know who Jamar Chase was. They're like, oh, it's a rookie. We didn't even know we game plan for him. They got to be better, and I think they will be. They got enough talent. They were kind of starting to turn a corner until Thursday Night Football. They just short week. They're just like, wait, we ain't showing up. They're going to show up here against Jordan Love, and I just don't think the Packers pass catchers are as good as Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, who can get open against the best of them. So again, if you're telling me Romeo Doubs and company beats me, I live with it. But again, sometimes the Packers like to get a little too cute. They like to sling it around. Jordan Love's going to want to put on a show in front of Rodgers. I think he can make a mistake or two and maybe just get sacked. I like the under a ton at 45.5. My best bet of the week. That is my favorite one out of all the picks on the board. But that is our week 8 best bets video. Again, if you want all the official picks, the ones we're rolling with, you can join the Dub Club. The link is down below. $10 for your first month. Get in there. We're going to have a bunch of exclusive picks starting on, especially on Friday for the, not beginning of the NBA, but really waiting to roll out a bunch of NBA picks until we've at least had a game or two from each of the squads. So again, check that out. Get on in there. Exclusive picks, parlays, you name it. Let's have ourselves a week, and we'll be live. We'll have a Thursday Night Football video live later on Wednesday afternoon, evening. So if you want to check that video out, I'll link it on the screen. Austin Logan signing out. We're moving to 6-2 on best bets. Hopefully each of us a piece, and hopefully I can get off that 500 skid line. I'm going above 500 this week. You have my word. We'll see you guys back in the next one. Peace out.